Welcome back. This is video 2 in the series of Understanding Special Education in the Durham District School Board. In this Let's Talk About section, terminology and supports will be explained in further detail. The Durham District School Board acknowledges that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships, both historic and modern, with the territories upon which our school board and schools are located. Today, this area is home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island. We acknowledge that the Durham region forms a part of the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas of Squaw Island First Nation, the Mississauga peoples, and the treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation. It is on these ancestral and treaty lands that we teach, learn, and live. The Durham District School Board is committed to learning environments that are safe, welcoming, respectful, equitable, accessible, inclusive, and free from discrimination while placing human rights and equity at the center. Let's talk more about assessment. What might assessment tasks include? Well, anything a teacher may ask a child to demonstrate, perform, or complete can all count as assessment, and all of this provides information for teachers and support staff about what the child knows, what misconceptions or gaps may exist, and what may cause more stress or anxiety for a child. Some of the tools we use more formally that are based against specific standards include the Benchmark Assessment System, or BAS, the Professional Resources and Instruction for Mathematics Educators, or PRIME, and Level Literacy Intervention, or LLI. These tools are commonly used and give teachers assessment for all students to better help them measure and plan for students' needs on a regular basis. Let's talk more about interventions. Interventions can include a number of different strategies, tools, approaches, and resources. The goal of an intervention is to be able to address a specific challenge or misconception with a concept or skill. Interventions won't necessarily be able to bring a child up to the curriculum grade level of their peers, but the goal would be to close the gap as much as possible or address the misconception so that a child better understands the concept. It is also possible that other staff members, such as an EA, CERT, or administrator, may provide support to the classroom for this to occur. We try interventions with all students on a regular basis through guided groups, but when a child is struggling, these interventions will occur to a greater degree, likely more often, and involve specific tools and strategies at a greater intensity level. Let's talk more about data collection. We use various data tools like an ABC chart, antecedent, behavior, consequence, or FBA chart, functional behavioral assessment, to track students' behaviors or difficulties. There are a number of reasons to want to do this. To look for patterns in behavior is one. Let me give you an example. A student who runs out of the classroom before the same subject every day. With timetabling changes, it may appear that the running out is random because that subject occurs at different times throughout a week. But with data collection, we can identify the anxiety and worry about that subject that may be causing them to run before it begins. The second reason is that functions of behavior are important, so using tracking tools helps us better understand the why behind the behavior, giving us the ability to put a tool, strategy, or intervention in place to support the need. Sometimes this tracking of information is done by the classroom teacher or CERT. Sometimes the support of an additional staff like an EA is added. This information also helps begin to understand how intense the learning challenge is, to decide if the support of other members of the Inclusive Student Services team is needed. Our Psych Services team members, for example, are highly trained in supporting behavior challenges, so their help may be sought. The overall goal is to better understand the learning need to be able to put the right supports in place. Let's talk more about support staff. Who else is here to help? The classroom team is always the primary contact as they support your child day in and day out and have the most comprehensive knowledge of the school experience. The only people who have even more insight is you, the parent or guardian. Your partnership in sharing this information with us is essential to success. Every school also has at least one special education resource teacher or CERT who has additional training in special education. The administration team, principal and vice principal, are also here to support your child along their journey to success. Never hesitate to connect with any of these staff members should you have questions or concerns. Educational assistants may also be available to support health and safety needs of complex students. Each school also has an inclusive student services team assigned to support them. This team includes a special education instructional facilitator who is a central teacher with special education training and experience that supports the school CERT and classroom teachers in adjusting programming for students, a psych services team member who, as a clinician, specializes in cognitive, behavioral, and emotional areas and provides support for strategies and interventions, a speech language pathologist whose specialized training in language acquisition, reading, writing, and speaking helps us better meet language needs, and a social worker whose specialized training can provide counseling in mental health and well-being or in connecting families with community supports. We also have hearing and vision specialty teachers who have training in these areas to support students who are deaf or hard of hearing, blind or low vision, and will support both the teacher and student directly. As added system supports, we have an autism resource team that provides consultation and direct support for students with autism spectrum disorder and their school staff in providing clinical recommendations. This team includes a board-certified behavior analyst, or BCBA, a specialized speech-language pathologist, and a special education instructional facilitator. We also have inclusive technology, equity, positive school climate, and Indigenous education teams that provide support to students, families, and school staff in these areas.